Hi, everybody. Welcome to Listen Up with Mike. I'm Mike, and I'm going to be your guide through this journey of growth and learning. Hola a todos, bienvenidos a Listen Up with Mike. Yo soy Mike y seré su guía por este viaje de crecimiento y aprendizaje. Les doy la bienvenida a otro episodio de esta segunda temporada de nuestro podcast Listen Up with Mike. Es un podcast que está enfocado en traerles conversaciones. En esta segunda temporada, conversaciones con hablantes nativos acerca de temas diferentes para que nosotros practiquemos el listening comprehension, para que nos expongamos al idioma y aprendamos pues frases, expresiones, todo esto. En el video de hoy traigo una charla con un amigo mío norteamericano, su nombre es Brett Carver. Él ha trabajado cerca de 15 años como hipnoterapeuta y nos va a hablar acerca de este mundo maravilloso de la hipnosis y de la terapia, de la hipnosis aplicada a la terapia. Es una charla muy interesante, es una charla que dura casi una hora, así que la he dividido en dos partes. En esta entrega veremos la primera parte y en la segunda entrega, obviamente, la parte final. Así que recuerden, pongan mucha atención a la conversación. Yo lo que les recomiendo es que primero la escuchen toda. No se preocupen por si están cogiendo mucho, nada, cojan, escúchenla toda, si es posible un par de veces para ver qué se entiende. Y ya después enfóquense en escuchar la conversación, mirar las palabras, ya tratar de entenderlo como tal. Pero es un ejercicio bastante interesante. Así que, sin más, en este momento los dejo con la charla con mi amigo Brett. So, welcome
Okay.
everybody. Today we have a special guest who works in the fascinating field of hypnotherapy. Please join me in welcoming Brett Carver, a certified hypnotherapist with a wealth of experience. Brett, thanks a lot. Thank you very much for being
Oh,
here.
thanks for having
Uh,
me.
could you could you share a little bit with us about yourself and how you became involved in this wonderful and interesting world of hypnotherapy?
Well, I my main functions or jobs have been in IT, but every so often I change careers, and when I do, I look for something different and unusual. And hypnosis is generally different and unusual.
It is.
Uh, I was going through a time where I was having some minor but annoying health issues related with stress.
Okay.
And here's some stress right here.
Yeah, I can see that.
And hypnosis is great for stress. If for nothing else, it's excellent for relieving stress. And so this was 2000.
Okay, that's 23 years ago.
Yeah. And I went down to, or down to, I went to New York City for a couple of weeks and studied with a fascinating man named George Bien.
Okay.
And
I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm sorry to interrupt. Is
yeah,
this related to the Milton and Erickson theories with the
um,
PNL and stuff, or it doesn't have to do anything
uh,
with that?
it, it, it is, it's kind of a parallel.
Okay.
Yeah. So, so George was like I said, a very fascinating person. He was very well known in the hypnosis field. He didn't do stage hypnosis. Well, he
Okay.
would do parties, specialized parties. He did things like fire walking,
Okay.
um, which I saw some videos and it was just amazing. Um,
Yeah, because when you mention that, it sounds like a magic trick and something, but it requires a great deal of, I would say, what, self-control and knowing yourself a lot.
uh, it's it's all really a mind over matter and mind over body. I have seen some amazing things done with hypnosis um, that seem impossible.
Okay.
I read an account of a boy in California who had they call it elephant skin, where your skin doesn't produce the oils and it builds up.
Okay.
and it's a genetic uh, uh, problem. And he went to a hypnotherapist for, I can't remember what the reason was, but during the process, the therapist suggested that his right arm would clear up, and it did.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
So
this is
basically, hypnosis here is going against gene pool and stuff information, ADN information, DNA.
yes,
I mean, I was thinking in
yes.
Spanish, ADN, no DNA. Yeah. Sorry for that.
No.
Oh man, that's
So
incredible.
that's amazing.
So that's 23 years ago, and then you go because you wanted to learn, or you wanted to get treated because of the
Well,
stress and stuff. And
I was initially I was interested because of the stress,
yeah,
and I thought, well, if I learn it, maybe I'll learn something interesting and learn more about how it works, and found a very fascinating side job that I is the most fun I've ever done.
oh really?
People love it.
Okay, so for those who are unfamiliar with this, because when we hear, at least here in I can talk Latin America, Colombia, right? When we
Mhm.
hear listen about hypnosis and stuff like that, most of the people think about magic, illusion, stage tricks, and stuff like that. So, for those who are unfamiliar with this, could you give us an explanation about hypnotherapy, what it is, and how it works?
Well, there is no definitive answer. There's a lot of theory on how it works. Generally, it's considered that all hypnosis is self hypnosis, and that the hypnotist guides you through it. And uh, as far as what it is and what it's like, have you done any distance driving where you've been driving on a highway for a few hours?
Well, yeah, I've been
Yeah. Yep.
driving, but
Right.
I'm
Hmm.
trying to think. Sometimes I try to induce myself into
Right.
trance. That
Right.
would be the word. I'm sorry,
It's
T
it.
R E A
Yes.
N C. Yeah, and it's like
It's
I can be like I would say I'm feeling. Let's say I'm walking on the grass, and I can feel
mhm,
I'm barefoot, and I can exactly feel
mhm.
all the sensations, this and that.
Yep.
I've done that a few times before. It's not something.
That's
Yeah. So
that's very similar to the technique I use.
and let me share this real quick. I don't know if you can see this. I recently
Okay.
had
Yeah.
a major cut here. It was a major
Uh-huh.
cut, and it's been like maybe 4 days. I don't know, maybe 4 days. It's already healed,
Hmm.
and it was a deep cut. And I have a deal with this. My wife, although this has happened to me a few times before, she's kind of amazed with this because I immediately control myself. I control my heartbeat with
Hmm.
breathing because I've been practicing Japanese martial arts for years, and that helps me doing that and
Hmm.
Zen practices and stuff.
Right.
And I avoid the cut from bleeding. And
Hmm.
she's like, "How come you're not bleeding when it was such a deep cut, right? So,
Yeah.
a deep wound." And I was like, "No, it's just a matter of concentrating,
Yeah.
like you said, mind over
Yeah.
matter, and it's pretty much healed, and it
There have
healed
been
real quick." So,
there
do
have
you
been
think it's related to that? The
oh, absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely. There have been recorded operations, major operations, where the person had no anesthesia
okay,
and had a major operation with minimal blood loss through hypnosis techniques. Now, it
that's
requires
amazing.
a very good therapist to be able to do that.
So you start studying by yourself, or do
Mhm.
you go and go somewhere to study with somebody? How is that
Well,
process?
it depends.
In your
Hypnosis,
experience, in your own experience, how
right,
how did it
right.
work?
Um, I chose. I did some research first
Okay,
on where to study,
okay,
and I don't know about other places, but New York State, where I live, is usually very hands-on with licensing um, and certifications.
Yep.
There is none in New York State for hypnosis.
Okay.
So I looked at there are different schools and there are different certifying organizations, and they each have their own requirements.
Okay.
And so I went with the one that had the strictest
Okay.
requirements, and that's the International Association of Counselors and Therapists.
Okay.
And George was a trainer
Okay.
for them.
That's a good thing because you had already the reference of this guy being such a
hmm
great therapist and
hmm Yeah, and it surprised me. Mm, it was the only um, organization that required ethics training
okay.
as part of it,
Okay. So none of the other
which
one,
surprised me.
none of the other
No,
organizations require. Oh, okay. That tells a lot about
yeah,
the way they work, right?
yes. So that was one that pushed me to them definitely.
How long did it take? The process
2
of.
weeks.
Oh, really? That's so
Yeah,
quick. I thought
yeah.
maybe it required longer than that.
No, it was and that's the longest training of any of the organizations.
Wow. So what's the approach then? I'm right now I'm stunned with this because I was thinking maybe he took 1 2 years studying, reading, practicing and stuff, and now that you say
No,
2 weeks, so what's the
yeah.
approach, if I may
Uh,
ask?
uh, well, I guess it's been 20 years since I've been to class,
Yeah.
but basically there are several different techniques for inducing hypnosis,
Okay.
and some are more inclined to work in different situations than others. The one I chose, and most hypnotherapists pick one and stick with it and try to perfect that method.
Okay.
Like stage hypnosis, there's a very fast induction, they call it, where, and the stage hypnosis uses, when they shake your hand, they grab your hand and they jerk you.
Yep.
And when it throws you off balance, because when your body goes off balance, your brain turns off for a few seconds. Because if you're losing your balance, you're likely to hit the floor and your brain doesn't want to feel it.
Yep.
So your brain turns off for a few seconds. And in that time, it has to be very specifically timed. The hypnotist will give the command sleep at just the right moment when you're most susceptible.
All right. Now, now that you mentioned that, I've been going through in my mind. I've been going through
Mhm.
all of the thousands. Well, maybe not thousands,
Yeah.
but most likely the hundreds of shows that I've seen on TV in which they
Mhm.
do such a thing, and I'm like, come on, this has been somehow. This got to be a
Yeah.
trick or something. They have to be played. I don't know. But now that you mention, it makes a lot of sense. The
And
timing and the way
yeah,
you, yeah.
and the stage hypnosis, uh, he asked for volunteers.
Okay.
So number one, the
You need to
people
be
who come
willing
on,
to.
right, you got to be
Okay.
willing,
Yeah.
right, and that's
That's a
if you're
must.
not willing to be
Okay.
hypnotized, you can't be. So that's step one. Step two is before he picks his volunteers, he watches. Like right now, you're fussing with your beard.
Yep.
He might do that on stage, like rub his chin and
Okay.
see who else in the audience rubs
Oh,
their chin.
that's for
Those
report, right?
right, those people are much more susceptible to being
Oh, okay, because of
influenced.
they're in sync with them.
Right,
The
right.
word
It's
is
like
the word report. Did I choose the word
yeah.
correctly?
Well,
Report?
yeah,
No,
rapport.
report.
Yeah.
Okay, report.
It's French, not
Ah,
Spanish. So yeah. Uh,
yeah.
um, but yeah, you can try it yourself at
Okay.
a wedding. If you're sitting at
Oh,
a table with a lot of people and you have their attention, pick up your glass of water, take a drink, and see how many other people take a drink at the
okay.
same time.
Well, I've done something similar when I want to get in full communication with somebody.
hmm
That's something that I not do very often, but I try to mirror the
Hmm.
gestures, right?
Right.
And see, try to get in sync. But this is very interesting because this is pretty much the other way, right?
Right. Yep.
Wow. So this is basically the approach, and now it makes sense that you mentioned 2 weeks, because those are like details that you need to, of course, learn how to handle, keep in mind, and start practicing.
Hmm.
So you start with this, and how long does it take before you feel comfortable and feeling like, yeah, I'm getting results with this?
Um, that depends because you really I found that I have to almost be hypnotizing myself at the same time
Okay. And that's
for it
why?
to be uh f- when I'm doing that, when I'm feeling that myself, that's when I get my best results.
Okay. Okay.
So what the approach I take is a very relaxed because again stress hypnosis is great for stress. And the vast majority of people that would come to me are interested in uh, stopping smoking,
Okay.
losing weight, uh, and stress is a big factor in both of those. If I
Nowadays, wow. Yeah.
if I can de-stress them, that's 90% of their issue.
Okay. Okay.
So the approach I take is meant mostly for taking care of stress. The concept is that your mind and your body are one and in tune, and so if you can relax your body, you will relax your mind. And the the goal we want is that zoned out feel, like you said, where your mind is off somewhere else. And like I say, if you've been driving a great distance, you might pass exit 33 and realize, I don't remember passing 31 and 32.
Yep.
I don't remember the last half hour of driving.
Yep. Yep.
And that's you're on your body
Drifting
and your
away? Not really.
yeah, yeah.
Drifting away?
Yeah, you're on cruise control.
Yeah.
You're the back of your mind is in charge,
Yeah. Okay.
but that foremind, that
Somewhere else.
thought process is gone somewhere else.
Okay.
And that's what we're trying to achieve in the hypnosis.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I basically send you on vacation
It's great.
while
It's
I talk to
awesome.
you.
I know. Okay. Okay. Is it possible, now that you mentioned this, is it possible to fall into that kind of state without being aware of,
Oh, yes,
while
absolutely.
we're having this kind of conversation? Is like, okay, I perhaps,
Mhm.
Brett is hypnotizing me right now while we're having this
Uh,
interview. Is that possible? Such a thing could be possible?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. You've got to be an active in this kind of thing. You have to be an active participant
Okay. Okay.
because one of the first things I do is I'll have the client after I do an interview with them, usually a half hour interview about why they're there, what the triggers are for their what's whatever they're coming for, and uh, then I want them to relax. So I have them close their eyes because 90% of your input comes through your
Visual.
eyes. Right. So now with their eyes closed, they can focus on my voice. I have them focus on their body, their breathing, turn their focus inward onto their breathing. And like, just like you're controlling your breathing when their awareness is turned inward, then I can get them visualizing other things. In the interview, we'll talk about, where's the best place in the world? Oh, the beach. So I'll put them on the
Go there.
beach.
Okay, go
I'll have
live
them
there.
start.
Go to your
Right.
happy place.
Right. Yeah.
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 Oh, this
And
is interesting because it's pretty much like meditation, but
it
it
is.
is
It's like a
guided
guided,
meditation. Yeah,
yeah,
guided
guided
meditation.
meditation. Yes.
So now that we talk about this stuff, uh, a lot of misconceptions around this subject, of course. And in fact, myself, I had some ideas. Although I've read about this before, and I've seen some videos about this. But most of people may think about things like mind control,
Hmm.
some stuff that maybe the movies help a lot in
Right.
in
Yeah.
in searching when you're like the
Mhm.
the sleeper agent
Right.
or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Uh, how could you clarify this kind of misconceptions to the people who's
Well,
watching this video?
first off, when you're going through hypnosis, you're not asleep.
Okay.
You're hyper aware.
Okay.
And secondly, you will not do under hypnosis anything you would not do otherwise.
Oh, okay. So you wouldn't
If I
you wouldn't
Right,
go against yourself.
right, right. If I were to hypnotize you and then go, "Hey, stand on your head," and you wouldn't normally stand on your head, you'd
You're
be
not
like,
going to do that.
"No,
Okay.
no." You can lie under hypnosis. You can it again. It's just an awareness and internalizing of your focus, and but it does, it makes you even more aware of what's going on with you.
So these misconceptions totally
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
it doesn't have anything to do with this at all.
No, no. You would, to turn someone into a sleeper cell would require a lot of brainwashing. Yeah.
Oh, okay. This is totally different. Brainwashing is
Yes.
okay. It's
Yep.
not okay. And you've been pretty much explaining the steps, right?
Mhm.
The way you do. Is that the way you work during your sessions? Is that the way you personally
Yes.
work with people? Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Interview, then, and I explain all this in detail because
okay.
most of the people who come have no idea.
Yeah.
Uh, but if I can relay it to, like, zoning out while you're driving, they get the idea a little.
Yeah, it's a
Then they
very
relax, but they have to be able to physically relax. I have had clients who cannot physically relax. Uh, I've One of my very first ones. She's sitting in a chair.
oh, okay.
And I'm like, "You've got to relax." She's, "I am relaxed." I'm like,
Relax,
"No,
get them. It's like,
you got."
whoa, okay.
Yeah. Uh, one of the demonstrations that George gave at the uh, classes was, you really want people to turn into a rag doll physically.
Yep.
And so he says, like this, he sat in a chair. He says it was just a chair without any arms or anything. He says, this is the state you want to be in. And he just totally relaxed. And three people were trying to hold him in the chair with his body in just such a relaxed state. They couldn't do it. He was almost like trying to hold water in the chair. And that's the state you're trying to get to, because if your body is that relaxed, your mind is that relaxed, and it's much more open to the suggestions that we've discussed in the interview on how to attack the issue.
How hard is it for you to achieve that state in a person? Because that's one of I would say that's one of the hardest thing to for a person to be able to achieve, to be
Mhm.
relaxed, to be
Yes.
totally relaxed. That's because we're constantly stressed. You can if you ask somebody, hey, how are your shoulders right now? Oh, they're so stiff. Try to relax them.
Uh,
Yeah, sure.
and you see where people hold their stress. People hold their stress differently. Most people, it's in the shoulders,
Shoulders, neck, and
or
mouth, right? Or,
some women, it's in the hips.
oh, okay. Oh.
And when I do this, I have them focus on the breathing, and then I have them focus on each body part to relax it, starting
Okay.
at the feet, starting to relaxing their feet and working their way up their legs. And some women, when you reach the body part where they hold their stress, they're gone.
Mm,
When they can relax that part, they're gone.
okay.
So you can tell exactly where it is on their body they hold their stress.
Muy bien, ¿qué tal les pareció? Espero que les haya gustado, espero que el tema les haya interesado. Ya saben entonces que a practicar mucho, a meterle la ficha a este asunto de listening comprehension. Les recomiendo que escuchen el video cuantas veces sea necesario para poder afinar esas habilidades de escucha. Verán que está el inglés del hablante nativo y el inglés del hablante no nativo. En este caso, Brett, hablante nativo, Mike, hablante no nativo. Y es muy interesante hacer esa comparativa, acostumbrarse a estos sonidos del inglés del hablante nativo, su pronunciación, su ritmo, su cadencia. Así que es un ejercicio que espero que aprovechen. Si tienen dudas, cuando estén viendo este video, miren el video varias veces a ver si de pronto esas dudas se aclaran, y si las dudas persisten, ya saben que me dejan un comentario y yo estaré respondiendo en el menor tiempo posible. Si les ha gustado el video, ya saben, denle like, compártanlo con sus amigos, grupos, redes sociales, y si aún no lo han hecho, suscríbanse al canal, denle click a la campanita. Es la mejor manera de estar al día con los contenidos del canal y de paso apoyan nuestro crecimiento. También el ser suscriptor, que no cuesta nada, les permite participar en el chat durante las transmisiones en vivo. Y si quieren ir un poco más allá, pueden participar del programa de membresías. Es una manera también en la cual pueden hacer un apoyo económico al canal. De paso, muchísimas gracias para las personas que están apoyando el canal en este momento por medio del canal, por medio del programa de membresías. De verdad lo aprecio mucho. Muchas gracias, y seguiremos trayendo material de utilidad hasta que más podamos. Así que disfruten, aprendan, sigan adelante y nos vemos en próximos videos. Bye bye.